Welcome back to our PCM 25 career mode with Sirocco for Endurance. In the last couple of episodes, I think it's fair to say we had a pretty successful run at the Tour de France with 2 stage wins. But more importantly, moving up from 23rd position to 19th in the World Tour ranking, which means we gotta move up one more spot by the end of the season to stay in World Tour. But actually, it's time to put the racing to the side for a second because transfer season is here. At the moment, we've got 17 riders under contract for 2027, which is not enough if our team stays in World Tour. And if you look closely, Ivan Romeo is not on this list. His contract is expiring, which means Adria Perikas on paper is our best rider for next season. That is simply not good enough for a World Tour team, so we have to extend some riders and sign a couple talents. But before we start, there's a few important emails to look at. For example, this one, Sirocco recruitment demands. Our main sponsor, Sirocco, wants 50% of our riders coming from Spain, so we gotta remember that. And our secondary sponsor, For Endurance, wants 10% of our riders to come from Slovenia and 30% to be young riders, so age 25 or less. And lastly, but not unimportant, this email shows the riders that are out of contract with our team, including our big man, Ivan Romeo, so we gotta extend him. And actually, I think I should start by doing that because he's been such a core part of our team this entire series really, especially in time trials, that we simply have to renew his contract. But I must confess, I'm a little bit scared that because he just won stage 10 of the Tour de France that Ivan Romeo might be asking quite a bit of money. But actually, thanks to our 3 sponsors next season, as we can see on the right of the screen, we've got 1.2 million to spend on rider salaries, so we're basically rich. Okay, it's time to negotiate with Ivan Romeo's agent, starting off with a salary of 13.6k. I don't think that will be enough, but that's already 160-ish K throughout the year, so that's a lot of money. Like, roles don't exactly matter on Pro Cycling Manager, but I do think it's disrespectful to call him a luxury teammate, so let's call him leader. Honestly, a 3-year contract, let's give this a try, and he's okay with it, so that's perfect. That is our 18th rider on the board. Our next Spanish rider out of contract is KICKR Mintegi, and I feel like he's gotten better. 75 hill stat at 23 years old, I feel like he was lower. Like, results-wise, there's not much to talk about, but this guy is always working for others, so that is logical. I think he's a valuable teammate, his secondary stats are not too terrible, so I will extend him. A 2-year contract as a teammate, that is fine, but I think I'll give him a little bit less money, so let's try that. Okay, he wants more money, so I have to give it to him. There we go. Contract is basically signed. But I don't think I'll re-sign this man. Andro Kamika, already 33, and I feel like his stats are getting worse. Like, I'm sorry, but Okamika is washed up. And I think our Portuguese guy, Gonçalo Tavares, is also leaving. 21-71 mountain is fine, but 3 potential only. On the opposite side, Unai Ramos, 73 mountain at 20 years old with 5-star potential in stage races and climber. This is a must resign. And I think I'll make it a 3-year contract at minimum salary, 2.5k. There we go. Our team is slowly but surely starting to shape up. 20 riders signed now. But now it's time for the fun part. It's time to sign some new riders. Wait a second, Roger Adria's monthly salary is 42,000 euros at the moment? That is 500k per year. I cannot afford this guy. I thought I was rich, but it turns out I'm a broke boy. So I think the key is signing young riders like Lorenzo Finn with a massive future that won't necessarily ask too much money on their first World Tour contract. What a talent, by the way. 76 mountain, 78 medium mountain and hill stat at the age of 19. With a massive 6-star potential in stage races and climbers, so a super bright future. And actually, I met this guy in real life about a week ago and he's super nice, so I definitely want to sign him. 7 dossier points is quite a bit, but I do think this is worth it. So, definitely a 3-year contract, but I think his role is more than a teammate, probably leader. Salary-wise, I'm hoping for, let's try 16.2k, and that is not enough. What if I try 17.2k? Also not enough. What about 19.2k? There we go, Lorenzo Finn is coming to Sirocco for Endurance. 230k per year is an expensive signing, but this dude is gonna be the future of our team. We also have to make sure we sign enough Spanish riders like this guy, Sergi Darder, to keep our main sponsor Sirocco happy. Like, Darder is not a godlike rider, but he does have talent, 5-star potential with 74 sprint stat at the age of 23, so a bit of a sprinter. So a 3-year contract as a sprinter at minimum salary, I think that's the way to go, and he's not happy? I can't believe this guy wants more money. 3k per month? There we go. Honestly, I feel like I just signed a younger Spanish version of Yuri Leitao. I'm not sure that's the greatest idea. Stats-wise and country-wise, Igor Arrieta is a perfect signing, but 10k per month is his current salary, and he's gotten better, so he might be a bit expensive. But 74 mountain stats, 75 hill, he's basically Romeo without time trial. Wait a second, 6.4k per month, so less money than his current contract. Why not give that a try? There we go, and it works. This signing is for sure value for money. But our team is in desperate need of a cobble rider, so maybe Samuel Watson from the UK should be a good signing. 76 cobble stats, 74 hill, and 73 sprint, so can be a lead out. I do think a 3-year contract is better and also a better role, for example, important rider. Let's see what happens. Not exactly happy. But if I have to give this guy like 15k, that's a lot of money. I'll try 14k first. 15k will have to do. There we go, and he signed the contract. Like sure, Watson was quite expensive, but it's a rider we desperately need, so we had to sign him. So 24 riders in our roster for next year, but we're not done yet because we've got 500k left in the bank. But I think it's time for a bit of a cheap signing. This Hungarian man, Balint Veldhofer, 20 years old with 74 hill stat and 72 mountain, so a solid domestique with 5-star potential, so a potential future. A 3-year contract at 2.8k as a teammate, I'm fine with that, but he is not. Let's try 3.3k, and that's okay. Now it's time for, I think, a fan favorite. Lukáš Kubíš is coming to our team, hopefully. 74 sprint stats, 74 cobble, so a cobble and sprinting edition. I definitely want a 3-year contract, but maybe a sprinter role, 11.6k per month is a lot, and it's not enough. Actually, it's his role that is not good enough, so what if we do absolute sprinter? Still not happy. I think it's because he wants to be a leader and not a sprinter because of the cobble stat. Which, by the way, considering roles don't matter in this game, that's kinda stupid. Anyway, let's try that. Not enough money, and we've only got one chance left. I'm going to have to ballpark a potential salary here, 14.6 or 15.6. I really want Kubíš, so I'll do 15k, and he's happy, so that's good. Lorenzo Finn, Samuel Watson, Lukáš Kubíš, those are 3 of our 4 best riders now, so this transfer period, it's transformative for our team, for sure. We've got about 150k left to spend, so let's do that. It is time to look at our scouting because I want to sign a monster talent, Benjamin Noval. Benjamin, pretty great name by the way. Only 17 years old, this is a literal child. 70 mountain, 71 medium mountain, 72 hill, but more importantly, 5.5-star potential. And it's only gonna cost us 2.5k, a minimum salary. That is insane. There we go, Benjamin Noval is part of our team next year. That is cool. Next up is another monster talent, 20 years old, Zach Ertzen from Bahrain Victorious, 72 sprint stat and 75 flat stat. At the age of 20, okay, but 6-star potential in sprinting, so supposedly 80 plus sprint in the future. That is insane. And once again for 2.5k per month, so he's basically free. Now, a bit of an update. I've got 28 riders contracted now for next season, but only 13 of those are Spanish, so not 50%. And an important reminder, our main sponsor Sirocco wants 50% of our riders to come from Spain. So yeah, with our last 84k, we gotta sign 2 Spanish riders. And they better be cheap. I would love to sign a rider like Paul Miquel, 74 mountain with 71 sprint stat, but 9.5k per month? We just can't afford him. Ooh, Jon Aguirre, ex-Rembe rider, he could be a signing. His current salary is 4.5k, once again we can't afford that. Yeah, I tried offering him 2.5k, but he did not accept. Jan Castellon, 75 mountain, 73 hill stat, terrible secondaries, but pretty cheap. A 2-year contract at 2.8k is not enough. Okay, he signed a contract at 3.8k, which is 45k per year. And as you can see on the right bottom, this means we've got 39.5k left for a single other Spanish rider. Hey, Miquel, come on, my friend. Landismo in my heart, forever. Come sign with us. 2.5k per month. How about that? Do it for the love of the game. Okay, I don't think that's gonna work. Joel Nicolau, nice stats, 4.5k, so nope. Javier Asparin, great flat stat, but 4.5k, so nope. Antonio Pedrero, 34 years old. I remember this guy from the Giro 2018, riding for Movistar, Landa and Quintana maybe? 73 mountain, 73 medium mountain, so that is something, but he's about to be washed. But I'll give him 2.5k, a 1-year contract as a teammate, and that's not enough. but I think I can afford 3k, so there we go. Antonio Pedrero is riding for our team next year. That is a name I have not heard in a very long time. Okay then, our work is done. Our squad for 2027 is complete, and it's looking pretty good because Finn, Watson, Kubish, Arieta, Castellon, Darder, Feldhofer, Erzen, Pedrero, the names just keep on coming. These are solid riders. And with talents like Noval in the team, the future of the team is also secure. I do think with these signings that we have the quality in our team to survive in World Tour next season and actually do decent. But like I said at the start, first we have to make sure we survive in World Tour this year, so we gotta move up into the top 18 of this World Tour ranking. Today's video is sponsored by Zwift, the go-to training app for indoor cycling. Winter is coming, so the days are getting shorter and colder. The perfect time to hop on your indoor cycling setup and check out Zwift. Whether you want to take on a workout, challenge yourself by climbing a mountain, or race against people on your level, Zwift is the place to be. And if you want to try out Zwift but you don't have an indoor cycling setup yet, you're lucky. You can now get 10% off a Zwift ride with KICKR Core 2 through the link in the description. Anyway, check it out. In today's video, I'll start by taking on Classica San Sebastian, also Circuito de Getxo, and after that Tour de Polonia for a potential stage win. Now, you might remember, in our first season, San Sebastian was a massive race for us, and we won it with Omar Fraile. But of course, Tadej Pogačar being at the start line scares me. Ivan Romeo is supposed to ride this race, but I don't think he should. Like, look at this, his tiredness is basically through the roof. So yeah, I took him out of the roster, and now our leader is Adria Pericas. It's fair to say this will be a bit of a challenge. Ooh la la, wait a second, a +2 race day condition on Pericas, so 81 medium mountain. That's pretty good. I was considering potentially joining the breakaway, but it's only 4 riders, so there's no point in doing so. I'm just gonna stay in the peloton. Just about 60k to go. Gomez Lopez has punctured. Samuel Fernandez also off the back due to a crash. Ramos is done when it comes to energy. We've got 4 riders left, and I'm trying to survive this third last climb. The Ijsgebel, 7.5 kilometers at 5.8%, so let's get Pericas over this. Pericas managed to survive the Ijsgebel quite well, but now the second climb is coming, the Adelaide, and this one is very steep and the tempo goes up significantly. Only a single teammate left, that is Mintegi, so it's all down to Pericas now, come on. Just about halfway the climb, still in the group. I don't have to do too much crazy at this point in the race, simply follow. Okay, over the top, 20 riders left in the group, and Adria Pericas is one of them. And people are still dropping. Pitcock, Gregoire, they're almost done for, so Pericas is looking pretty good. And that's with a single climb left, the Murgil Tontora. The climb where we attacked last year with Omar Fraile. Quite a few riders trying to attack in this valley, but it's not my responsibility to close that. I'm simply sitting in and trying to recover my yellow. Wait a second, Wout van Aert is sitting at the back, and Jonas Vingegaard and Nordhagen are closing the gaps for him, so Wout van Aert is the leader of Visma Leasebike in this race. That is insane. Tobias Hallon Johannessen has a gap of 30 seconds into the climb. Pogačar is going. I'm just desperately trying to follow at the back of the group. That's all I'm doing. There goes Pogačar. I cannot respond to that because I'm not well positioned and I don't have the energy, so that is 2 problems. Come on, Pericas, just follow as much as you can. Actually, we are pretty close behind Tadej Pogačar, but look at our yellow bar. It is inexistent. We're about to blow up, but so is the rest of the group. Can we stay with them? Can we stay with them? No, no, don't ride away. No, that is devastating. Right off the back in 10th position, so let's try and bring this home. 10th position, I mean, because the victory, that ain't happening. Tadej Pogačar sprints. We've got Skelmos on the left, but Pogačar takes it, and we're going to be finishing in 10th position, which it's okay, I guess. I guess considering Adria Pericas' secondary stats, we should be happy with this result, but you're always hoping to latch onto that first group and we just couldn't. Anyway, shit happens. Our next race is a smaller race, but still UCI points available. Circuito de Getxo with Thibaut Nys as the favorite. Once again, Ivan Romeo on the start line, but I think I'll take him off. I'll once again send Adria Pericas with a fitness peak, so that's good. But considering the flat finish, I think Javier Serrano has a solid chance to be our best rider. Anyway, we'll figure it out in the race. So, a +2 on Pericas, which means once again 81 medium mountain, but more importantly 79 hill stat, but no sprint. Serrano with 73 sprint and 75 hills, so I'm feeling Serrano. But of course, we gotta make sure he makes it over that steep climb first. So, 25k to go. We are slowly but surely getting closer to that steep climb, and I'm trying to keep my team in position with Bellocchi right now, and so far, that's working pretty well. Bellocchi is doing a splendid job at the moment positioning for this climb. I don't want to attack on the climb, I simply want to follow with as many riders as possible. There we go, 16k to go. We gotta accelerate now because that's an attack by Thibonais with Philipsen following his teammate, then Thomas Silva as well. Come on, team. Samuel Fernandez is trying to keep it together as we speak on, let's say, 87. We're doing fantastic. Everybody of the four will get over the top? I think so. Serrano in the wheel, so this is perfection. And actually, that's 4 riders in a group of 14 only, with Serrano as our fastest rider, so we are really competitive here. But it does look like the second group is catching up in the descent, so now it's a peloton of 46 riders. In the last 4.5 kilometers, there goes Anders Voldager with a move. We need to close that down. But I'm already using Perikas, which that was not my plan. Let's go on 90. The gap is only 13 seconds, so it's not the end of the world. Let's go 95 right now. Not all out yet, not allowed yet, not allowed yet. It's kind of uphill sprint. Let's do 99, and now the sprint starts with Perikas, and Serrano has to go early. Serrano has to go early, but we do have a gap and there's a corner here, so this is looking fantastic. Javier Serrano crosses the finish line with his hands in the air, winning the Circuito de Getxo. There we go. I gotta say, it does feel good winning with our quote-unquote smaller riders within the team, because it's always Ivan Romeo, Matthias Kopecky, but Javier Serrano, after his transfer, has been a pretty valuable rider to our team, and he proves it once again. Anyway, that's our first victory of the day in the bag. Next up is a World Tour stage race, Tour de Pologne, and I want to win a stage here. Honestly, the parkour is mostly sprints and versatile sprints, so it fits us. With Matthias Kopecky as our leader in most stages, and perhaps Adria Perikas on the harder stages. But there's actually quite a bit of competition. Binyam Girmay, Wout van Aert. So it won't be that easy for Matthias Kopecky to win, but we'll try anyway. Oh, starting off with a -1 race day condition on Kopecky, so not ideal, but a +1 on his sprint, so we can work with that. So the peloton is in the last 13 kilometers and the breakaway leftovers are about to be caught. Positioning will be key in this one because the last couple of kilometers is pretty technical in my memory, so we gotta make sure we are in a good position, and so far, we're solid. Last 4.5 kilometers, Fincht can already go right now, Perikas out of the way, the less riders the better. Serrano is in an okay position actually, so that is good. Last 3 kilometers, I need to go early I think, so Serrano can go right now before this corner. Fincht out of the way, Kopecky in the wheel of Serrano, last kilometer incoming, looking pretty fantastic. There goes Kopecky before this corner, but that might have been too late anyway, but Kopecky on the right side of the road, Binyam Girmay on the left side of the road, and we finish all the way in Narnia. All the way back there. Oh, 13th place is really disappointing in this fast stage. I was hoping for more. Hopefully stage 2 goes a little bit better. It's once again a sprint. Beating Binyam and Wout is probably not possible, but I do at least want a top 10 here. This time we are starting with a positive race day condition on Kopecky, 76 sprints, so that's good. Like, it's not just that some of these finals are really technical, it's also that there's a billion teams in this race trying to position themselves at the front, which makes it so hard to do so for our team. But I gotta say, with 9.5 kilometers to go, it's looking pretty good, and this looks like the finish line, so the last kilometer is pretty straight. 2.7k to go, Serrano is ready to launch. Let's do Fincht right now with Serrano now at 2.2, whatever. Last kilometer incoming, Kopecky can launch right now in this corner. There goes Kopecky on the left side of the road. Come on, come on, come on. The Scheiteneer on the right, but Kopecky on the left side of the road against Blikra. Come on, Matthias. Come on, Matthias. Yes! There we go. That is a win. A World Tour win by Matthias Kopecky. In the last 2k, I stumbled over my words, but Matthias Kopecky did not stumble in the last kilometer. This man brought it home. That's his third World Tour win in this series. That is crazy. I'm sorry, but Binyam Girmay, who? Matthias Kopecky was the man of the match. But according to PCM, it will be quite difficult to repeat that victory on stage 3 upon sure finish, with Remco Evenepoel as the favorite. But I will try to survive with Kopecky, and if that does not work, it's Adria Perikas time. I must confess, the more I look at those hills in the final, the more I think that Matthias Kopecky, despite a 0 day, probably won't survive that. Meanwhile, Perikas has a pretty fantastic day, a +1 day, so 78 hill stat. He should definitely survive. Okay, last 40 kilometers, so the climbing portion is about to begin, and I've got my train of riders pretty much towards the front of the peloton, so now it's all about surviving. There we go, slowly but surely onto the first climb. To be honest, Kopecky with 75 hill stat should survive these hills, I think, so maybe I was a bit underconfident at the start of the stage. Over the top of the first one, Kopecky is still in the wheel, so that is perfect. But now the second climb, the Kalwaria Paklavska, what a name by the way. 2 kilometers at 9.4%. This one is definitely the steepest, but I just need to stay in the wheel. I don't need to attack or anything, just survive. There we go, Kopecki's red bar is suffering, but he makes it over the top, and that was the hardest climb. Now on the final climb, the Grushova, 2.8 kilometers, 6%, so not the hardest climb in the world, but Kopecky is suffering big time. His red bar is almost empty. But actually, this is the top, so Kopecky made it over. That is perfect. And sure, there is a climb in the last 1.5 kilometers, but I feel like Kopecky has a better chance than Perikas. But hey, I could be wrong. In the last 3.5 kilometers, Serrano is doing the positioning as we speak on 95. Perikas is ready in the wheel for the lead out. Some other teams are moving up, but I'm feeling pretty good about this. There goes Perikas with 2 kilometers to go. Should I launch? I think I will launch right now, why not? There we go, Perikas goes, Kopecky in the wheel, last kilometer incoming, we've got Wout van Aert at the front, but there goes Kopecky on the right side of the road. Come on, Matthias, come on, we're almost there, come on, no! Wout had something left, and Perikas is better than Kopecky on the steep section. Wout van Aert wins, a podium spot for Perikas, which basically means that I bottled it. I should have gone for Perikas. Not Kopecky. But I gotta say, I've got no clue where Remco Evenepoel finished. Ouch, 26th on 28 seconds, what happened, buddy? I think we should be pretty happy with a 3rd place and a 6th place. Now in 2nd and 4th in GC, but there's a time trial, so I don't think we'll stay up there. But, hear me out, there's a lot more climbing throughout the stage on stage 4, but the final looks a little bit easier, so I'm feeling Kopecky. But once again, it's against Wout van Aert, so it definitely won't be easy. Ooh la la, Matthias Kopecky with a +2 race day condition, so 75 sprint stat, 77 hills, so that's good. Anyway, that brings us to the final 2 hills in this race, so now it's down to Kopecky to survive on the climbs itself. Actually, surviving the first climb was pretty easy, now we're on the second one and Kopecky is looking pretty good, but we gotta move up a little bit. There we go, closing towards the top, and we're looking pretty comfortable, so Kopecky made it. Now it's time to try to win the stage. In the last 3 kilometers, Kopecky has lost the wheel of Serrano, but is back now. 2 kilometers to go, Perikas launches a sprint. Serrano in the wheel can launch right now with Kopecky. We're blocked in. We're blocked in by ourselves. We're blocked in by ourselves, but there goes Kopecky. The Marijn van den Berg train is far ahead, but what a disaster. What a disastrous ending. It looked fantastic with 5 kilometers to go, but I completely bottled the last 3k. Like, there's not that much to say. We blocked ourselves with Perikas, and Serrano and Kopecky both a top 10 position, so it's not horrible, but I reckon I could have won that stage. I gotta say, it is pretty funny that we have 5 riders with a fitness peak at this Tour de Pologne, as if it's the most important race on our schedule. Anyway, stage 5 is once again a versatile sprint, but now a easier one, so we're definitely going for Kopecky on this one. Just about 12k to go in this race, and we basically survived every climb without any trouble, so it's been pretty calm, and now it's time to prep our sprint. In the last 3.6 kilometers, looking pretty fantastic. We've got a small gap with our lead out. Oliveira attacked last minute, but we're catching him as we speak. 2.5k to go, Serrano on 99. Don't sprint too early. Right now we sprint into that, a roundabout in the last k. Okay, I'll take it. So I need to launch early on the left side of the road. A perfect launch by Kopecky. This is our moment. We've got Van Gils, Van den Berg, but Matthias Kopecky doubles up with a 2nd stage win at the Tour de Pologne. That is another W. But I must confess that roundabout in the last K ruined the entire sprint. Wait a second, we did not just win this stage with Kopecky, Serrano also came 2nd, so more UCI points for us. And also, because of our 2 stage wins, Matthias Kopecky is the brand new leader of the Tour de Pologne. This is pretty cool. Our man is also leading the points jersey by a single point on Van den Berg, and also the youth jersey just ahead of his teammate Perikas. It's fair to say Matthias Kopecky is dominating this Tour de Pologne at the moment, but I feel like that's about to come to an end. Because, well, stage 6 is basically a GC stage, a 12-kilometer punchy time trial, with of course Remco Evenepoel and Wout van Aert as the favorites. And Perikas with 68, I don't think will survive in GC. So, Pirikas and Kopecky are both on the road as we speak on 86 effort because it's such a short time trial that it's all about micromanaging your red bar. Now on a steep section, so trying to go a little bit harder, but I don't want to spend my entire red bar either, so drop it to 85 again. Pirikas over the top of this small hill as we speak. Pirikas about to cross the line, he does so in 32nd position. Kopecky still with 3.5k to go. Come on buddy, I know climbing is not your best skill, but try and beat Remco Evenepoel. It's not that difficult, just pedal harder. There we go, crossing the line, and he does not beat Remco Evenepoel. What a shocker. But Ilan van Wilder is a new GC leader because Remco was so far behind in GC. My goodness, Matthias Kopecky on 2 minutes 47. What an awful time trial. And as expected, we lose our lead in GC and actually also our top 10. And next to that, Wout van Aert overtakes us when it comes to the points jersey, so we're now 3 points behind. And that with a single stage left in this Tour de Pologne, a sprint stage, so this is where the green jersey will be decided. Or actually, it's not a green jersey in Pologne, I think it's a white jersey in this race. And I gotta say, that makes no sense. Anyway, Matthias Kopecky, time for one final attempt. Can we do the hat-trick or not? Starting the final day with a +1 race day condition on Kopecky with 76 sprints, so a pretty good start. Here we go, last 11 kilometers, my team is on the right side of the road trying to move up in the wheel of Samuel Fernandez, and he's not exactly the best flat rider, so it's not exactly working. Actually, now we are literally at the front, so it is working now. Adria Pirikas takes over with 5.8 kilometers to go. Kopecky suddenly looking pretty fantastic. Now at 3 kilometers to go, our position is quite shit again, but Finch launches now, Serrano in the wheel launches now, Kopecky in a pretty good position getting blocked. Who are you? Hugo Page. Nobody likes you. Your parents didn't want you. There goes Kopecky. There goes Kopecky on the right side of the road. Teutenberg on the left side, but no. Wout van Aert passes us, steals the points jersey away, and we finish third. Oh. I'm sorry, but there's only one man at fault here. It's not me, the one controlling the riders. It is Hugo Page, a violent Frenchman. Like, a third place is pretty fantastic, but if Hugo Page was not in our way in that final 1.5 kilometers, I'm telling you, we would have won this race. But of course, what ifs don't matter. If my grandma had wheels, she'd be a truck. Okay, maybe that's a little bit rude. Sorry, grandma. But overall, this was a pretty good episode for us when it comes to results. 3 wins, starting off with Circuito de Getxo, a smaller race with Serrano, followed by not 1 but 2 stage wins at Tour de Pologne by Matthias Kopecky. But our battle in the UCI World Tour ranking is still very competitive because yes, we took quite a lot of UCI points, taking a bigger gap on P20, but it looks like Intermarché with Binyam Girmay is riding away from us. So we simply need to keep performing, even in a big race like our next one. Next time we are starting our third and last Grand Tour of the year, La Vuelta a España 2026. And it looks like we're taking on the 2023 parcours starting in Barcelona, with massive mountain stages like the Col du Tourmalet, and as always the mythical Alto de l'Angliru, also known as the hardest climb in cycling. But all of that is gonna be for next time. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye!